packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you.
Reese on the radio. Whack FM.
All right, ladies, buckle up. It's showtime.
You don't know what I went through. You don't know, baby. You don't know. I love you so much. It's time for the world's most hated, and dare I say it, the most racist online show in America. You don't know what I sacrificed to be here. It's Reese on the radio. Oh my goodness. It was a harrowing day today trying to do. Now, my wife, who's probably listening to this, does not know how much I love her, my man. I can't tell you how much I love my wife, but she takes me right to the wire. I love her. But I got to say, my wife, you just have to give her everything. You just got to. If you're pressed for time and the wife wants something, if your wife is good to you, some of you I know, and I don't want to get into your personal life, but if your wife is a good woman and you know she's a good woman, you know you'll go to the ends of the earth for her. But my wife, man, she takes me right to the wire. She knows I'm pressed for time, but she goes, I just need that one thing. Can we do the one thing? Honey, I'm in but just, you got enough time. You could do it. And you got to give it to her because she goes to the ends of the earth for you. And so I rushed back here. Let me tell you, with everything I had to do today, I rushed back here and put together a show for you in an hour time. Usually I take about 3, but I'm pretty good at what I do. I'm really good. I am. I am going to break my arm, pat myself on the back, damn it. I am good at what I do. I barely got to watch any news today because it's official. Keep It Moving is up and running today and hopefully forever. Now, if I have any long-lost children out there, I don't know who you are or where you are, but you better show up with a DNA test, a birth certificate, or at least some proof of purchase that you are related to me. Because I plan on growing this business more than I ever have. I am going to make it a stupendous piece of business in the future. I am going to retire off of this business. My wife is going to retire off this business, and I'm going to give it to, I don't know, maybe the boy if he wants to or whatnot, but he may not have any interest to it. But I'm going to find somebody to pawn it off to and give it to as I grow old. But hopefully that happens. Thank you, Rama. White Mike, I'll get into that. I promise you I'm going to do that subject, to that story tomorrow. Thank you for sending it to me. I'll give everybody a preview of what White Mike is talking about. Michael A. in the house, Haggis in the house. So I was under the wire putting it in and getting the trucks. I had to go 40 minutes out, and that took 50 minutes. And I had to come 40 minutes back, and that took 60 minutes. And I had to drop off trucks, and we got my father-in-law behind me. and I've got my wife in the car behind me, and she drives ahead of me, and I'm trying to get back and all that other stuff. So we finally got everything. And then my wife says, I'm hungry. We got to eat dinner. And I'm like, I got to prepare for a show. She's like, it's just dinner. Can I have dinner with my dad? And I'm like, sure, fine. And we have dinner with dad. And then I've got to be on WTIC at 5:30. So I do that at 5:30 on the East Coast. And then I do that. And so then I've got to finish that, eat dinner, and then get home and then prepare for the show. And I made it right under the wire. At 8 o'clock and 40 seconds, we were going live. And I commend myself. Kamala Biden in the house. I'm just going to start calling you KB. I can't keep saying Kamala Biden. I'm just calling you KB. KB in the house as well. Let's get into this. Mark in West Hartford brought this up. DEI. I got to talk about the DEI mayor today. We said, what do you want, a cookie? Yes, I do. I do want a cookie. I'm a big cookie fan. Before we get into the show, I want to pay a little bit of homage and respect to fallen officer Jonathan Diller. His funeral was today. Donald Trump was kindly enough, his family asked him to come, or at least respected his request to come and pay his respects to Officer Diller. They did not see it as a political op or anything like that. He went there to go pay his respects. He is from New York. He supports the NYPD. And if you watch the B-roll of Donald Trump arriving at that funeral and way to the other officers who were there celebrating the life of Jonathan Diller, I hate to make it so crass, but when you see the NYPD embracing Donald Trump's hand, and you see the way that they're talking to him, it's a New York thing. You've got to watch it. Boston's got the same thing too, right? Like when Boston PD is talking to a dignitary or somebody who they know, like who understands them, they've got a certain way in which they talk to him, like they embrace him. And Donald Trump walks up and talks to this, I believe he looks like an Hispanic gentleman, and he shakes his hand, and you can look at the guy and you can almost read his lips saying, hey, thank you, Mr. President, you know what I'm saying? Anything you need, you know what I'm saying? You contact me, It's like he had that kind of approach, and people are shaking his hand. It's firm, Donald Trump is like, he's got the pat around the arm. It's just it's a New York, it's a Boston thing. People know that on the upper, on the East Coast. I was about to call it the Upper East Coast. The Upper East Coast, they understand that. There's a certain way in which they behave. Yeah. Meanwhile, at Radio City Music Hall, exactly. The contrast couldn't be more. I mean, what could it be? What could you call it? Listen? My wife and I were talking on the way back home from the office, and I said I saw the headline on the New York Post about Donald Trump paying his respects, and my wife said, what's that? And I said to her, as Donald Trump, he went to go pay respects to the police officer. My wife's huge, police supporter. Her ex-husband, my husband-in-law, as I've, I guess, in jest, calling him my husband-in-law. I almost forgot what word I was using. But in jest, Ellis Sr. is a police officer. He works for the Department of Homeland Security today, but he was a former police officer. So we have strong respect for the police. And so when she saw that Donald Trump was going to visit the fallen officer or going to see the fallen officer's family, she saw respect for that. And I said, there's an article here that's contrasting Joe Biden and Donald Trump. They're both in New York, and Biden didn't even bother to go to the funeral. And I said, I always wonder why they don't do that. And I said, is it because Biden doesn't want to be seen in the same place with Donald Trump? And my wife immediately said, that's petty. Like, it's not about whether or not Trump is there. It's showing respect to the fallen officer. You're in New York and you don't go to show pay your respects. Like, what's that about? Like, it's a national story about this officer. You go and you pay your respects when an officer dies. It doesn't matter whether or not Donald Trump is there. And him not showing up was a little, again. But again, good point. Look who was there. Obama didn't really do a lot of, stuff for police officers when they were killed. and Clinton. They said they pay homage to the Rockettes today. Here's Donald Trump in his remarks to the press as he left the funeral today.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. I want to thank Bruce and all of the people that have worked so hard to make this area beautiful and safe. And this is what happened is such a sad event, such a horrible thing. And it's happening all too often. And we're just not going to let it happen. We just can't. 21 times arrested, this thug. And the person in the car with him was arrested many times. And they don't learn because they don't respect. They're not given the respect. The police are the greatest people we have. There's nothing and there's nobody like them. And this should never happen. I just visited with a very beautiful wife that now doesn't have her husband. Stephanie was just incredible. Their child, brand new, beautiful baby, sitting there innocent as can be. Doesn't know how his life has been changed. But the Diller family you'll never be the same. You can never be the same. And we have to stop it. We have to stop it. We have to get back to law and order. We have to do a lot of things differently because this is not working. This is happening too often. It's an honor to be here. And again, I want to just thank all of you folks for allowing this. And Bruce, thank you. Bruce has been a friend of mine for a long time. He's done an incredible job out here. But this is such a sad occasion. The only thing we can say is maybe something is going to be learned. We've got to toughen it up. We've got to strengthen it up. This should never be allowed. Things like this shouldn't take place and to take place so often. So thank you all for being here. It's an honor, and it's an honor for me to be here. This is a great family, the Diller family. I met the friends, and I met every one of them inside, and these are just incredible people that are just devastated. They're devastated. They've got a tough road. It's going to be a very tough road. So thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So those were his remarks. Check out the message I sent you on the bridge collapse and the workers. Yes, I did get that. I did get that. And it is, yeah, actually, I'm going to check into that because it was literally, I was under the wire. So thank you for that, Jennifer. I appreciate it. John Beckman in the house as well. Speaking of Donald Trump and Joe Biden, I have to ask the question. And no one seems to ever want to ask the question, but they should ask the question. I showed this number before, 81,283,501. That was Joe Biden's vote total. According to every report, that's the vote total of Joe Biden in the 2020 election. It's more votes than any president in the United States in history. 81 million. Beat Donald Trump by 7 million. Right? According to reports, 7 million votes. My question is, how bad can your candidate be? How bad can his opponent be that you would be fearful of a Robert Kennedy Jr.? Something about this number people are ignoring. And I mentioned it yesterday with this, denialism about the 2020 election, right? They're so pushing that. Why is everyone so concerned about whether or not you believe the 2020 election was rigged? And this is why. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Joe Biden should be cruising to victory. Donald Trump is a menace. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Donald Trump wants to be a dictator on day one. Robert F. Kennedy isn't even on ballot someplace. Sure, he's on a couple of, battleground states. But really, do you think that Joe Biden has done so badly that he's not going to get anywhere near 81 million? Why not? How many of this 81 million count do you think he's going to lose? How many of this 81,283,501 voters do you think are saying, nah, not this time? How many? 8 million? 10 million? How many do you think are not even going to show up? This number is insurmountable. Do you understand that? It's insurmountable. Nobody should be able to get this number from Joe Biden. He should own this. More votes than anyone in history. That means God, his children, their children, your mama's children, and everybody's cousins showed up and voted for him. He's so bad. Remember, the economy, it's really, really good. The stock market, the best. Unemployment at its lowest it's ever been in history. Blacks are doing better. How is RFK a threat? Why are they so concerned about Robert Kennedy? It doesn't make sense. That number should be, it should be, nobody should care. But listen to Joy Behar and the folks over at The View.
The third-party candidate people seem to be talking about right now is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Reportedly, people are saying, the Democrats he's going to take votes from Biden, and a lot of Republicans are pushing that narrative too, but I'm not sure that that's so, but I'll ask you all, what do you think of this third-party situation or possibility?
Well, I also just want to say, send love and well wishes to the Lieberman family. He was somebody I greatly admired in politics. And I think it feels like the end of an era of centrism and trying to prioritize working across the aisle. I feel like we so often demonize moderation in this current era. So he will be missed. But on this third party, RFK has to be taken seriously, even though I think his beliefs are out there. Some of them are very dangerous, some of the anti-vax sentiment. But he has money. He's organizing. He is on the ballot in a number of key battleground states, including Nevada, 2 battleground states. But we know this. We know it from 2016. Jill Stein alone was enough to keep Hillary Clinton from winning in Michigan and change the course of the election.
Now, all of that, think about Jill Stein. She was such a force. Was Jill Stein enough of a force to cut off Hillary Clinton's popular vote number that beat Donald Trump? She won by 65 million. Donald Trump won by 63. He just had the Electoral College. Jill Stein clearly wasn't a problem numbers-wise. Donald Trump didn't do well. So what kind of damage could Robert Kennedy get? Why? Because of his name recognition? Again, how many votes do you think Joe Biden is at the risk of losing?
I think it's an open question who he takes more votes from, and you see kind of people pointing fingers right now. Trump world is saying he's a left-wing liberal so that right-wingers won't consider supporting him. Yes, but Democrats are also organizing, and they've hired some smart operatives to start challenging him on the left. I think it's very much an open question.
Trump's trying the reverse psychology of saying, I think it's great, he's running. And do you remember when Putin said, I really prefer a Biden presidency? He's flip-flopping on this, but I think he might appeal more to Trump.
You think so?
Yeah, because some of his takes, RFK Jr., I think strangely line up almost more with Donald Trump's, and he's got that, he's a kind of personality figure that they like, and I don't know, I feel like that's going to potentially hurt Trump more.
Somebody has to.
They would really, really love that. They would really love that. But disillusioned Republicans who do not want to vote for Donald Trump are going to sit it out or vote for Robert Kennedy Jr. But the truth is, not really. They know Robert Kennedy is a Democrat. And Donald Trump has a very strong, strong base. The numbers in his base are insurmountable as far as Republicans go. Even with the 74 million he got in 2020, if his vote totals were diminished, he'll probably still reach 68 to 69 million. I believe that's probably right. That's kind of where the line is. At 68 to 69 million. because I don't believe that he would lose that many. I couldn't possibly see him losing 5 million votes. I just don't. Not in this economy, not when they know that Joe Biden has a possibility of winning. I don't think that 5 million votes